Welcome to AIW's The Card is Going to Change, presented by Absolute Intense Wrestling and sponsored by Smart Mark Video and the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Glenn Moore, joined here by the co-owners of AIW, Mr. John Thorne and Chandler Biggins. Today's topic is Absolution 11. It was a jam-packed crowd at Mark Harmel last month and July 22nd. A lot of people in attendance, some great wrestling in the ring. You had guys flying all over the Raptors. You had an impromptu NXT Redemption show. You had some thumbtacks being spread around the gym. You had guys diving off the stage. It was a great show if you're a true wrestling fan here in Cleveland. And let's get into it, guys. First of all, last year, my first Absolution, you guys had that at the temple. You had balconies. It was a unique venue. But this year, you had at Mark Harmel, and you jam-packed the place. I think you could fit a lot more people into that gymnasium than you can with the temple. But still, it was a great show. A lot of people in attendance. And just your overall impressions before we get into the nitty-bitty about what happened, but your overall impression of Absolution.
Well, I guess this is where I'll admit that we have a really shitty accounting practice. We couldn't even tell you how many people were there if our lives depended on it, because we don't really pay attention to that number. I think that's just like a number like, some promotions want to put on Twitter to like just jerk themselves off or something. Yeah. But we the only number we pay attention to is we fill the envelopes. And we filled all the envelopes on July 22nd, so that's really all that,
that's successful labeling.
Yeah, that's really the only number we pay attention to is how many envelopes we have left to fill. So I don't know if there was more people this year than last year or what. We only really knew what the number was last year is because they put a restriction on us. Yeah. So we had to pay attention. But this year, who knows? I just know that there was a lot of people there, and we didn't have to worry about how we were going to pay everybody downstairs.
And I know the people were a lot more comfortable this year than last year.
Yeah, I mean, there was air conditioning, so everyone was right off the bat a little bit more comfortable than last year. So, the day started off very, very, very stressful for us. I woke up to two text messages, one from Chandler Biggins that said Carly Perez now, her flight was changed. She now lands at, I don't even remember what time he said. And then I had another text message from Carly Perez that said, hey, my flight changed. I'm in the Uber right now. I'm never going to make it. And nobody told me that my flight changed. It's the same thing that happened to Kurt Hawkins in June. They canceled her flight straight up in the middle of the night, about 4:00 in the morning. And
I don't know exactly what time it was. I mean, I could go and look, but I woke up to a voicemail, not an email, not a text, like I had signed up for a voicemail, and I wasn't even signed up for a call from the airline saying, oh, we've canceled your flight. We've rebooked you. And I forget what time she was supposed to land, like maybe 2?
Yeah, but whatever they rebooked her on, then, she later called me and said that flight never took off because some lady had like a freak out on the plane. And so she missed that. And then, while I was on the phone,
which this shit only happens to us.
While I was on the phone, I listened to Carly Perez get a real Latina on the American Airlines desk workers. She was motherfucking them. I was terrified, and I was on the other side of the country. I can only imagine what these people at the American Airlines booth were thinking when, this feisty, a little Latina woman was, basically, threatening to kill them and everything that she could to not get taken away by TSA. But, so that kind of sucked. And, that's why we had to stall. There were some people that were mad. We had to stall doors opening and stuff. But finally, once she worked it all out, she wasn't going to land until 9:30 p.m. So we definitely had to make some arrangements on the fly. She didn't even take off from California until 3 p.m. our time. So it was really, really, really cutting it close. And then, after that got all worked out, nobody had heard from Tyson Dux, and of course he fell victim to our friends at the Canadian United States border. He was turned away, so that's we had to deal with that. And other than that though, other than those two things, I was pretty happy with everything. I think the Lucha tag more than surprised some people, especially Steve Payne. I remember Aaron Bauer was standing next to me, and he was like, "Who the fuck is this Steve guy?" I go, "You just gotta wait and see, man. This is who." Steve Payne was a guy that DJZ had specifically, requested. He said, "This is the guy. This is the guy." And as I've said before, our Lucha Libre talent scout Adam Lash was also putting over this Steve Payne guy. So it's just like you have like almost no expectations, because it's
and I think Randy also.
Yeah, our boy Randy. But you have it's so weird because you have almost no expectations of this guy. He's unknown. His name is Steve, and his face is painted. So the stack is really against this guy. To the fans that may not have an open mind.
Yeah, I guess he's doing well with Lucha Underground, but nothing that's aired yet. So it's kind of like you were saying, a definite unknown.
But funny story about Steve Payne. So I go to pick him up from the hotel, and he goes, "Hey, can you please text me when you get here?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "I'm in full gimmick," and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if he I'm not even gonna lie, I never even really watched him wrestle. But as far as I knew, he didn't wear a mask or anything. So I'm like, what does this mean? So I wait for Dutch Mantel, who had already tried to sell me his book 3 times in the car earlier in the day. I don't know if he was. I don't know if because I was younger, what he thought, or what he thought he was getting into, but he's just like, so you're a big wrestling fan, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he's just like, oh, I got a couple books on me. They're real good reads, lots of good short stories. And I was just like, is this dude trying to sell me his book as soon as he gets off the plane? This is the most Memphis shit I've ever seen in my life.
He really wanted to sell those fucking 10 books he had.
And he did very quickly, too.
Well, he didn't sell one to me, and I just looked at him and said, Dutch, not much of a reader, man.
He could have been down to 9.
Yeah. But so anyway, Dutch Mantel's in my car, and out walks Steve Payne from the Marriott, fucking full pleather gear on, face all painted up, and I was like, what the fuck is
Seems
going
like it would
on?
be a little hot for all that.
Yeah. So then Steve Payne's like, hey, can we stop at a gas station and get a Red Bull and some water? And I go, yeah, man, but I should probably fucking walk in, because they're going to think you're going to rob the place. What the fuck? What the fuck are you thinking? Just walking around with your face painted. But yeah, so, other than that, there wasn't that much craziness going on at Absolution. At least on my end, those are my 2 fucking weird stories, is Dutch Mantel trying to sell me his books, and Steve Payne walking around Cleveland with his fucking face painted.
I know a lot of people brought up the podcast to us at Absolution. I want to thank everybody for listening. But the one question that I got asked about 100 times at Absolution was, did Laredo Kid go missing? And sadly, we don't have...
Actually, yes.
He did go missing?
Well, I don't know if you want... Well, yeah, because Dave the Potato was getting him. He couldn't find him for quite some time. While I was waiting for Dutch Mantel and Steve Payne, I just see Laredo Kid walking down the street. Nowhere near the venue or the hotel. I was driving to the hotel, and this fucking guy's just carrying bags he just went grocery shopping. And I pull over, I was like, Laredo, dude has no fucking idea who I am. Has no clue that I'm his boss or anything. I just say, Laredo, what's up, man? You need a ride? And he just fucking looked at me, and he was just like, he had all these fucking bags, he went to Walgreens or something. I don't know. And he just held his bags up and just kept walking down the street. I totally fucking forgot about that. Yes, Laredo Kid.
Yeah, I knew nothing about this.
He did his grocery shopping when he was here, I guess.
So he walked how long of a walk was that from where he was?
I don't know. I was just it was in between the venue and the hotel. It was about halfway.
And I don't think there's anything really in between, so he must have really hunted.
Well, I mean, so who knows where where he went or what he had in that bag.
What hotel was it?
It was the Marriott.
Marriott.
Come on, we're not telling
Yeah.
where we put people up, man.
Just say a usual spot.
The usual, well,
Okay.
the usual spot is America's Best Value. That's
Right.
where I prefer to put people up. But the Natty Daddy complained about those accommodations.
Yeah, he asked if we were going bankrupt.
Yeah, so I don't know where the Laredo kid was or what he was doing, but between him grocery shopping and Steve Payne and his fucking face paint, these luchadors, it's always an adventure every single month. But you know,
And somehow we lost Bandolera on the way to Cleveland also.
yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened with that.
Hey, but we got M-Dog, so.
But yeah, so I did think of another funny story though. While, you know, so we're dealing with like the Tyson Dux situation, and like it's like a fucking episode of Shark Tank. Every motherfucker on the roster that wasn't booked or wanted to get into a better position on the card was pitching.
It's
like
a bidding war.
like nonstop. Like I was just getting pitched, and I'm just like, I wanted to be left alone. Like everybody's got a fucking idea. I got like everyone's rattling off these ideas. And here comes the fucking Natty Daddy, Colonel Robert Parker. He's got his own pitch, but his pitch is he knows he's finishing up tonight, so he's trying to keep his job. And his pitch is, hey, you know, I really want to talk to you guys. I got this idea, and it's
So he's surrounded by, Thorne is surrounded by about, I would say, a good dozen people. And the Natty Daddy, Colonel Rob Parker, pulls me and Thorne.
yeah, he just disregards everybody else, like total alpha male style, and he
Of
goes,
course.
"Hey guys, you know I've been meaning to want to talk to you because he knows the angle's over. You know he knows the Texas Death Match is the blow off, and he wants to keep these paydays a coming. So he
He
pulls
wants
us
the
over.
natural ice is coming.
Yeah, he pulls us over in total fucking territory carny fashion, and he goes, "Hey guys, this is really grasping at straws." By the way, he goes, "Hey guys, you know, I got this angle to pitch to you, so I could keep something going here." And I go, "Okay, let's hear it." And at this point, I have heard it fucking all in a 5-minute span from everybody just pitching different things and trying to get the card changed. And I go, "All right, Colonel, I got all the time in the world for you. What do you got?" And he goes, "Well, you know, I did this thing down south." And he goes, "I was thinking about bringing it here." He goes, "You guys got lots of nice lady wrestlers here." And we go, "Yeah, you know, we do have a women's division." He goes, "Well, how about this?" He goes, "I don't know who you got, but how about we get one of these guys, you know, this guy's got nothing going on, and we paint him up like a bitch." And I was like, "What? Whoa, what?" He goes, "Yeah, you know, I just did this down south. What was the old territory guy jobber's name that he said he did this with?"
Oh, I forget.
He
was an NWA guy. Oh, fuck.
It's like some NWA old enhancement guy. He goes, "Oh, you know," he goes, "this happened a couple weeks ago. You know, they didn't have the girl show up to wrestle Tessa Blanchard."
He's like, "Have you ever heard of the Blanchard family?" I'm like, "Yeah."
You know what? He pitched this idea like 3 shows ago, off the air when he was on our show. Like he pitched this idea.
Well,
to Steve and I.
he was saving it for his last day,
This was his last ditch effort.
and he is just like getting very descriptive about trying to find a guy that we could teach to walk like a woman and wear high heels, and
Shave his legs.
we're gonna put her in the women's division, and he's gonna be the manager, of course. And I just couldn't believe, I couldn't get past when he goes, "Let's paint him up like a bitch." And at that point, I was just like, I was zoned up.
Which we were kind of shocked that the guy dressed like a Southern plantation owner didn't know about PC in 2016.
Yeah. So I hope nobody goes and buries Colonel Robert Parker, because that is not the point of this story. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. But so yeah, like that's going on, and in the middle of all the chaos, and I was just like, what the fuck is today coming to? Like we were like, last year we booked this $10,000 main event, and this year we were kind of going a different direction. We had Dutch Mantel and Carly Perez, who Carly Perez might not make it. So we were like, what the fuck?
Until she landed, I was still thinking she wasn't going to.
Right, which, she walked in about 10 p.m. And as soon as she walks in, she sees EC3 and he's got brooms and wiffle ball bats,
Food service trays.
and he's talking to her, and I have to go over and introduce myself to her. This girl had been traveling since like 6 a.m. California time, and I just have to I say, hey, nice to meet you. I'm John. I'm sorry you've spent your entire day traveling to come and do obstacle courses, but I hope you have a good night. And she just looked at me like she fucking hated me and goes, I know this is all fucking Derek Bateman's fault. So, they went and did that NXT Redemption thing, which, man, was that a fucking spectacle if I've ever seen one.
I was just glad people liked it. If they like it, we like it.
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
Yeah. Relax, Paul. Come on.
This is the dance.
Oh, whoa. So, I wish there was, more crazier things that really happened at Absolution, but I would say this is probably our best top-to-bottom Absolution card that we ever put on, even though, there was a few minor changes. The M-Dog last-minute surprise, which I guess I could talk about that. We had to do like a sports trade with the Insane Clown Posse to even get M-Dog there on Friday, which was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. So M-Dog was wrestling at the Gathering on Friday night, which had a 12:30 a.m. bell time, but they were very, very concerned that he would not make it on time. But they wanted to book Ray Rowe, and they were just kind of like, did you fly him? Can we book him? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, hey, you guys can book Ray Rowe. Don't worry about throwing in on a flight if we can book M-Dog. And, for Biggins' sake, because he's big on the clowns these days, I said, and some ICP tickets to be named later. So it was they got Ray Rowe, we got M-Dog, but he had to go on first, and we get future ICP tickets at a later date.
And stock in Fago.
I wish we had stock in Fago. I wish we had stock in anything but a professional wrestling company.
Yeah, it's true.
I have a few questions from a fan's perspective.
Before you say that, though,
Yeah.
I do want to say that some entertainment company did try to buy AIW 12 hours before Absolution for $25,000, and we said no.
Of course.
Well, I said
no. Thorne said yes.
I said yes. Let's do it. I said let's take that money and just be podcasters. And Biggins said no. So
I said we're gonna run out of stores if we don't keep warning.
Yeah.
I wanted to close Absolution, walking out with one of those big ass fucking Happy Gilmore checks, and saying it's over, guys. But
Where can I cash this?
yeah, that
A really big bank.
that was a true story about 12 hours beforehand. And
They only had 300 followers, anyways.
well, hey, he said he had the money, so. But yeah, let's hear your questions.
Obviously, you talked about it before with Carly. You pushed the doors open, being a little bit later. People were standing out in the heat, in the sun. I saw some tweets saying people, whatever, were upset about, but I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about the comedy segment was a little bit late. The main event didn't start till after midnight, I believe. Is that just something, from a promoter standpoint? You just can't control that, and you have to do what you got to do, and with the timing of it doesn't really matter.
Initially, that the NXT Redemption segment was to go on before intermission. So, we had to make all sorts of different card adjustments. And, with opening doors late came, the show starting later. And then, one thing that, that fans don't realize is we can put time down on a call sheet and tell people to the end of time. But when they get out there and they
Start feeling it.
they see fucking however many hundreds of people out there and they're hot and they're going nuts, they're gonna get their shit in and they're gonna ignore any sort of time cues that they were given, which is exactly what happens. It's just the nature of the beast, which I don't really care. Fans could say they're all fucking night for all I care. As long as they're buying concessions and having fun. But it's just the nature of the beast. And with her not landing until 9:30, coming from the airport, that was another 25 minutes.
And we kind of felt that her appearance was like a lot of people said they were just coming for her because she makes such few rare appearances, like on the independents. This is her second independent match ever. There's actually talk at one point, if we started earlier, that was going to be the main event, that comedy match. And we didn't feel that would be just to the title, but that was actually something that had come up.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, we had to make adjustments on the fly.
And you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't at that point.
Initially, we wanted that Texas death match to go on later. We wanted the comedy segment to kind of be the main event of the first half. And, that stuff changes. And then, of course, we were telling people to stretch things out a little bit. We tried to cut intermission short. I think she got there during intermission, and as soon as she got there, I said, let's cut intermission short. Let's get the show going. She's here, and let's try to get it over with. But, that's just something that it's, we could sit here and we can format out a show and times and everything else, but, when someone's not landing till nearly 10 p.m., you got to fucking stall. And, it came to the point to where, she had called me when she was trying to get here, and she was just like, what is the cutoff? Because I can't get on anything. And I said, 9 o'clock would probably be the latest that you can get here, and we can make adjustments. So she got on that flight that landed, just around, just before 9:30. So, that was kind of like, it was like, hey, I could say, hey, stay home and don't worry about it, or try to get here and we'll stall. And I thought it was probably better to stall and have, 99% of the advertised card there than to, run the show on time but be missing, one of the marquee things that we were advertising.
We did try to pull off a huge coup or whatever the word is.
Yeah, we did try to book Jeff Hardy.
Brother Nero.
We did because he was in town for the gathering, but I didn't directly talk to him. I talked to him through somebody who talked to somebody, talked to Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen the videos going around by now, but we were told that Matt Hardy wanted to get the life experience of the Gathering of the Juggalos. And from the videos that have been floating around on the internet, he definitely got the life experience. I don't know if he got the Rick Bassman Save Tila Tequila life experiences, but I think he definitely got some of the other, interesting things that go on with the Gathering.
Hopefully, Necro Butcher let him go home early.
Yeah. So, it's not, I don't know if this episode is going to be all that interesting because there really isn't that much controversy that went into Absolution other than, we had to start late and we had to, there were fans definitely that were pissed, and
But you kind of got to weigh it out because, would more people have been pissed if Carly Perez wasn't there at all?
Yeah. Right. It's just one of those things like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't situations. Like there was no decision that we could have made that would have made everybody 100% happy because, it was a Friday night. People had been in line. Some people had gotten in line at 2 p.m., so they were there for a long, long, long day. But, that's just the nature of the beast of being an independent wrestling promotion. We aren't the WWE. We don't have, all the resources to, get every single person there, 10 hours early in the day to go through and rehearse everything, because that was another thing, just because she got there, then she had to figure out what she was doing in her match and work that out, even though it turned out to be a lot of, shenanigans, she still had to,
figure out what the shenanigans were,
go over everything. So, that's just, that's the kind of problem that comes with independent professional wrestling promoting is you gotta be prepared to think on the fly and, solve these problems quick. Like I said, the Tyson Dux thing happened, which I totally forgot that he was even coming. And we're dealing with all these other problems. And then Biggins looks at me and goes, have you heard from Tyson? And I look at my phone and there's 18 messages from Tyson Dux, saying that he's not going to make it. And, he's not going to make it for quite some time until he gets things worked out with his visa, because he did have a visa and he needs to get it, renewed or whatever. So, that was a problem because he was a tag team champion. We're trying to figure out what to do with that, which we really didn't even come up with a solution. We're probably going to have to do a tag team title tournament sometime down the line and add a show. But we just wanted to kind of get through Absolution and get through the night, because people weren't going to be satisfied if Hot Sauce and Dom defended them, or, they just weren't going to be satisfied if they vacated them. That was just kind of a lose-lose situation at that point.
Another damned if you do.
So we were just like, hey, just have a match. We'll just come out of intermission with it, just have a match, and we'll see what happens, because, they could have defended the titles and, they could have lost the titles. Like, that was the plan anyway, but nobody would have gave a fuck.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of let that simmer down, see what happens, and probably, have to add a show. And we wanted to take October off, but now we're probably going to have to add a show in October that's just going to be, a tag team title tournament.
You mentioned Jeff Hardy, but I heard what are some other names that you guys tried to book for the show? I heard one name come up when I was there that you guys possibly tried to book, and you guys probably confirm or deny this, but DDP. You guys try to get DDP to come?
Oh, that was months ago.
That was my argument with Biggins, because I wanted like a big marquee name, and he wanted Dutch Mantel, and I was a little worried about Dutch Mantel's fanfare, because he's definitely an acquired taste. He's not going to get you that,
like a niche guy.
He's not going to get you that big mainstream casual fan draw.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of hesitant of it, but that's like, Biggins' third idol besides Bunkhouse Buck and Colonel Robert Parker.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm definitely a huge fan of old Dutch Mantel and Zeb Coulter. And
so I was a little, I wanted to book the Bang Man. Biggins wanted to book.
Well, we did talk to the Bang Man, but he wasn't available.
Yeah, so Biggins wanted to book Dutch, and I think it ended up working out. That's one of the matches I didn't see at all, but his meet and greet went a lot better than I anticipated.
Well, the whole thing with Dutch Mantel was he had contacted us. He had said something on Twitter, and he contacted us when he was still with WWE and was like, "Oh, talk to my agent." And then we talked to his agent, and he gave us this outrageous price. And then our boy Sanjay Dutt, he's like, "Oh, I booked Dutch. He's this much," and it was very agreeable. And guy was great. He just seems like a cranky old guy, but once you warm up with him, he was great.
Yeah, I think once he saw that it was a professionally run show, and like it wasn't just some fucking kids trying to run a wrestling show, he definitely was like a lot more open, and he stopped trying to sell me his book, and he was a lot cooler. I think it's got to be hard for a lot of these guys, because it's so easy to be a wrestling promoter and not know how to be a wrestling promoter, that a lot of these guys go to these shows, they get fucked on money, it's just a miserable experience. So I'm sure a lot, especially these legends, are just turned off when they get booked for stuff. And he ended up, him and Colonel Robert Parker ended up having, just catching up downstairs and having a blast. They had, just like Colonel Robert Parker always does, they just had a semicircle of just workers around them, just listening to them talk old Memphis stories and a lot of stuff that they probably don't want to be repeated, which I won't repeat here. But they told a lot of it's cool. Like we've said before, it's cool to have those guys in the locker room, and just to be able, just for our students and just the young guys on the roster to just be able to go and talk to those guys and hear their perspective on things and what works and what doesn't work. Dutch just was in WWE for quite some time, and he's seen a lot. So and he had some great stories to tell about working for WWE. So I ended up I was reluctant at first, but about booking Dutch, but I think it all worked out, and I think he was a perfect fit in that Texas Death Match with Dick Justice and Jock Sampson and Robert Parker.
And man, he hit Colonel Parker with a potato if I ever saw one.
Did he? I didn't see the match. I haven't watched the tape
But like
yet.
Dutch came up a little early for his match, and he was worried about the ramp. So him and Glenn had come up the elevator, which is right behind where I'm situated at shows, and we had a long talk about like Memphis and everything. And he's fascinated about like modern and independent wrestling, which goes back to what we said about Fuller and stuff. It's great when these like legendary guys that have seen and done it all are still fascinated by like a professional independent show.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's just interesting for them to see like the evolution of almost like the modern territory system. I feel like the independents are becoming a modern territory system, and like every major city, for the most part, what their independent promotion is. So I almost feel like they kind of respect that resurgence. Obviously, we're not going to be selling out 12,000 seat arenas every Monday night in Memphis, but to be able to draw several hundred people on a Friday night in the middle of July, I think they kind of it opens like their eyes again, because there was a huge, what I call the wrestling depression, which was after the Attitude Era, where fucking you'd be lucky to see 30 people in the crowd of the independent show. So I think, it's kind of cool for those guys who have, been around for, 40, 50 years or whatever, to see just the ups and downs of the industry. And, I know we joked about it earlier, but, Colonel Robert Parker definitely sounds like he wants to stay around and keep coming back. Because I think he does like being around the young guys, and, I think it just makes him, feel, part of the industry.
And like he does a lot of like stuff in the South where it's more old school. So I think he likes like the new era like attitude, or I don't know what to say, but
just like the younger, just the younger generation and their views, and their, there's just a lot of hungry dudes on the independents and girls. And I think he just likes being around that kind of like youth and that hunger again. And, how exciting can it be to just be the president of your pool association? You got to get out every now and then.
It's a lot of Speedos.
Yeah, you got to get out. But, all in all, I think Absolution with 11, even with the problems, that was probably our best booked, most well-rounded show I think we ever put on, And I said this earlier today when I was talking to Biggins, before we went on the air, but a lot of people don't like the storytelling or the angles anymore in independent wrestling. They just want like now, like give me those snowflake matches. But like stuff like that comes and goes. Like these match of the year candidates or whatever people want to say, I feel like a lot of that gets forgotten very easily. But like, for example, Eddie Kingston coming out as a surprise after he did all that stuff with Frankie Flynn and the Duke and everything. I think that, laying the groundwork for that over the last year, and then him going away and coming back the way he did, like that evoked like real emotion. Like that was like a huge, huge pop for Kingston to return. And like, I just don't think you can get stuff like that without, laying the groundwork months in advance.
And I think like if you don't do stuff like that, you're not building to the future anyways. Like you might not buy a ticket right now to see Frankie Flynn, but him being in there with guys like BJ Whitmer and Kingston, he's going to get to the point where you go, oh my God, I want to see Frankie Flynn.
Yeah, it's just, and that's kind of the benefit of going to our school is, we want to put these guys in there with these veterans so they can learn on the job and expedite their development.
Because it's so like a weird thing with fans is fans want to get behind somebody on the way up, but they don't want to take the journey with them.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like they want to see the finished product. They don't want to see the guy in his third match, and they love jumping on board to these guys that are just breaking out. But the thing that they don't realize is like a lot of guys have been wrestling for fucking 15 years. Like after the show, I got real Paul Heyman like when I was drunk.
Real Paul Heyman talking about how his client beat Undertaker.
No, I didn't do that. But I got like outside of the Fox and Hound after the show about 3:30 in the morning. I was all fucking hammered, and I got like I gave a speech to these luchadors that rivaled the "This Is the Dance" speech.
I think Gringo Loco was in tears.
Dude, Steve Payne was ready to fucking follow me into the gates of hell. But what I basically told them is, just, these are the guys that nobody knows it, but I asked them all. They've all been wrestling for over a decade, and they're just now starting to get that momentum. It took 10 years.
Because I think people are lazy and they just go, well, Pentagon's a Lucha name. That's my Lucha guy.
But yeah, so, it's just, it's one of those things that I think Absolution 11 was like the most well-rounded variety show that we've probably ever put together. And, you have your quote-unquote match of the year type of matches, but there was so much more like storytelling and things that happened throughout that I think, you could pick that show up and like really see top to bottom what AIW is all about. Because, it has a little bit of everything.
And the thing about picking the show up is, like, I can't put over Smart Mark Video enough to where if 48 hours later the complete product is on DVD, Blu-ray, MP4. Streaming, everything.
So, yeah, I guess, we'll probably wrap it up on that note. Just all I can say is buy Absolution 11. If I know a lot of people are listening to this podcast that don't even really watch AIW shows, and we try not to like shill anything or sell anything.
This is a show we were real proud of.
But like, I really, really encourage everybody that listens to at least pick up Absolution 11 and kind of see for yourself what we're trying to do, and the kind of different, weird brand of professional wrestling we're trying to unleash on the world, so to speak.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Episode number 9, The Card is Going to Change, presented by AIW and sponsored by Smart Mark Video. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. You can listen to the show if you're a first-time listener on iTunes. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, and Libsyn. So if you have an Android or Apple device, you can listen to the show. And you can also download it off the internet with the links on your computer as well if you're listening at work or at home. So really appreciate you guys listening. Leave a comment, rate, subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks.